Hi, sick Arch here. I have a cold, so I can't really hear, and I can't really make music. I thought the best thing that I could do is make a video about sound designing. Perfectly logical for somebody that has a cold and doesn't hear properly anymore, at least for the time being. Hopefully, I get better soon because I really miss making music already. It's been like 12 hours since I haven't made a song. 24 hours, I don't remember. Anyway, this video, as you read the title, is about sound designing. And I'll try my best to explain how to make sounds and, maybe can help you, maybe it can motivate you to do some sound designing. So we're here in FL Studio, and this is my preferred synth, Serum. You can use any synth you like. They're practically basically all the same, especially if you use something called Vital, this one right here. It's a free version of Serum. Not exactly, but you get the point. Now, how to make sounds? Well, I mean, the best advice I could give is like, just do sound design, just maybe search some videos and stuff and try to make sounds that you like. So I'll start by breaking down one of my most used sound in my music, this respace right here. What a respace is, essentially, it's just a saw wave that's detuned a bit. Detune would be like this, unison, and slightly with this like kinda closed up and stuff. And low pass, which will be this thing right here. It's kind of like an EQ that cuts out all the high end. That's your basic idea of a respace, and this is how it sounds. I'm assuming you guys already know. What I did is, instead of using both saw waves, which is very basic to do, it's nothing wrong to do that, I experimented and I added here a square wave. For some reason, this square wave, just if I turn off the saw wave, this is how it sounds. It's super wide and super like weird sounding, and I put it 2 octaves down. This is something that you can do with like a normal saw wave too. It gives it like this weird, like thick and bassy sound, if that makes sense. And to complement it, I added a basic sub bass here. For post-processing here in Serum, I did hyper dimension, slightly using the what's it called, the dimension a little bit, like this is the amount, and the hyper is closed, and did some soft clipping. That's about it for this respace. Now, but you might be saying, hey, but that's kind of super basic. What about something like, I don't know, this sound, like here? Sounds like a helicopter. Now, what am I doing in this sound? Is so complicated? Not necessarily. This is kind of what I learned from Eliminate. Is this BPM right here? This is an LFO, and this BPM, it basically tells the LFO that, hey, this is the amount, and this is the BPM of the project, and you should follow it. And if you turn it off, you kind of you can change the rate by hertz. It says like here, HZ, I'm assuming that means hertz. I have no idea. But yeah, basically, you can increase it so much if you turn off BPM that the LFO just goes crazy. It goes like way too fast. And to make it the sound, I basically have this comms filter here connected to this wave, to this LFO. If I turn it off, it probably sounds different. Yeah, that's the sound. It's basically like turning on and off the levels of noise, the pitch of the noise, and the level of wavetable 1. This comms filter is the reason that you can hear the fluttering sound of like a helicopter. I don't know what a comms filter exactly is. It's what exactly it does, but it's kind of like a reverb filter, but with a lot of notches. And if you move it too fast, it doesn't sound good. But in this case, it made this really cool helicopter sound. If you want this preset, I'll leave it in the link in the description, by the way. Or you can just get the preset pack that I have. Shameless plug here. But again, you might be asking me the question of, Art, that's cool and all, making sounds, that's dope, incredible. But how do you make a sound from scratch? Let's make one together. let's say I want to make a, I don't know, a bass stab, which I'm very terrible at, by the way. We have this wavetable right here, this one. Now, it depends on what type of sound you want. You basically, you know, if to make, I don't know, let's say a gritty bass sound, or like a very thumpy bass sound, you would need to choose a wavetable that, you know, kind of has that properties. You can also make your own wavetables, which I personally don't really make a lot of them because I'm not that good at them. But you can maybe, you know, drop a sound in there and Serum will make a wavetable out of it. Let's make a bass sound with this, what's it called? Wavetable. I don't know, I kind of wanted like a thumpy, like that sound. And since the bass sound, it's gonna be lower octave, so let's drop it like 2 octaves. You can already hear like it's already like a bass. To make it like a stab, let's just, you know, reduce our envelope and make this shape right here that kind of swells up and cuts off. Just adjust it the way that we want it. Maybe we want it to be a bit wider. We can increase our unison, reduce it a bit. Doesn't sound good. Turn it back. Maybe we could put like a wave here, like an LFO. I can use the second envelope to automate it. That already sounds way better. I don't know, for post-processing we can put some distortion. And maybe we want some compression, we can put some multi-band compressor in limiter mode. Maybe we wanted to sound a bit wider, so we could put some hyperdimension in. Or maybe you want this to only have the top end, we can put like an EQ, we can put it here and do this, I don't know, cut out the lows. Alright, just to give you an example, this is how you would go about making sounds. Now, you might be saying, okay, Art, but this is already, it sounds good, sure, but it's very basic. It doesn't really sound the way it would be. It would, like, if I put it in a song. And I would say, yes, that's true. You can do 2 things. You can either save this preset and, you know, maybe do more tweaking so you always have like a back point, or like you would do in a normal project, you would link this Serum into Mixer and do your post-processing. So for post-processing, maybe you want this sound to be a bit more color basy. You can add a resonator. Maybe you want it to be like color based. You don't like how it's, you know, it has some low ends, you can EQ out some stuff, mix it in. You want it to be a bit stronger, you can add some sound equalizer. Alrighty, this sounds way better than before, right? Just to give you guys an example, maybe you want it to be a bit more wetty, you can add vocodex. You might be thinking to yourself, hey Art, this doesn't really sound that good anymore. The vocodex is kind of ruining the sound. It's kind of making it a bit more muffled and stuff. And yes, I would agree with you. The thing you can do here is, I want to tell you here is that the order of the VSTs actually matter. Like if you put resonator before EQ, it actually matters. To fix this, I would suggest just to move your plugins around and see how it sounds. Now I put vocodex before resonator and this is how it sounds. Some parts are distorted. Maybe you can go into vocodex and see what's the problem. Seems like right here it's too much. Maybe you can just reduce it right here. You can do these things. You can experiment with sounds to get whatever sound you want. It's if you don't like resonator, maybe use like Fruity Convolver or Convolution Reverb with a chord, or like a chord stack that works the best in my opinion. For example, I can show you a song I made. Here's a project file where I made a color bass drop with some melodic dubstep. It probably will never see the light of day. The song, let's just not talk about this, you know. Anyway, this is a color bass drop right here that I made. Now you might be asking, Art, what the hell is that sound? What is this color bass sound? And let me show you. Here's how it sounds without any processing. It's just a sound that I had in Serum that I resampled, and I just put like a convolution reverb here. This is a convolution reverb. This is what is doing the heavy lifting here for the sound. If I turn off the convolution reverb, see, it kind of loses all its sound. And what I used as a what's it called, as the source of the convolution reverb is this drop right here. That's what I used as an input in the convolution reverb, to give it like, you know, very full thick sounds. By the way, I do apologize for the background noise. I don't really have any control over this. I really apologize. So here's the Serum that I use. So basically what I did is essentially played D sharp and came over here. You see this knob right here? Just grabbed it and threw it in the project file. This is how you resample things in Serum. See, it's exactly the note I played, the way I played it in Serum. And yeah, that's what I basically did for the sound, for resampling it. So again, in terms of making it, as you can see, it's basically like how I showed before, how you make sounds. It's very basic, sawtooth, 2 octaves down, whatever this wavetable is, how it sounds without the saw. I have done this something cool technique that I learned from Rival. Basically frequency modulating oscillator 1 with oscillator 2. So basically you can see the level is at 0, but right here I have it at 50%, I believe. Sound input coming from this wavetable right here, this sound right here, into this wavetable right here. So, you know, let's say if I turn this off, you can only hear a saw wave, but if I turn it on, it sounds different, it sounds cooler. Here's how it sounds alone. It just gives it that thickness that I was looking for. And, you know, to give it that wow sound, I have this filter right here with a lot of resonance right here at around 50%. And I have the cutoff being automated with the envelope 1 with this shape. So it follows the way the sound comes in. And for post-processing, I have hyperdimension, EQ, tube distortion, and multiband compression, OTT, basically. Yeah, but again, the concept is the same. You just need to know an idea in my opinion, in your mind, and, you know, just try to make that idea a reality. Now, if you don't know where to start, you can maybe, you know, try to deconstruct some sounds. Maybe know that, hey, a bass sound is a sawtooth, you know, something like that. It could maybe help you. Another cool thing that I did is this thing right here. This is something that I learned from AU5. Now, you might be asking me, what is that? And that is just a snare. It's just a cashmere snare that I have here, casually. I'll run you through the post-processing here. So, micro finisher to give that the pitchy modulation thing, like the crystally thing. Camel crusher to distort the sound. Man, this cold is fucking me up. What is this? A convolution reverb. Again, it's the same one that I used for my drops basically. And then an EQ to clean it up, so I only hear the high end. Then we have a compression right here with Soundgonizer, and just to, you know, make it thicker, and, you know, Fruity Balance for the volume automations. This is how it sounds in the song. You know, just to give you an idea, that's how some sound designs work. Now, another thing that I would heavily emphasize about sound designing is layering, for example. So here's a project file that it's not released yet. It's an ID that I have with Aaron Crook and Ella here. I'll play you a little bit of the drop, and just to give you an idea of like how it sounds. Very heavily dark rocktronic vibes, right? Sounds pretty cool. Now, to give that rocktronic vibe, you know, you would need elements like that, rock elements, guitars mainly. So what I originally got with from Aaron was these stems right here. Sounded pretty cool. I had a sub bass too, but I didn't really like it. But again, it doesn't really sound too great. You know, if I just add all of my elements but take out this guitar, which I believe is the main element that carries the drop, you will hear a difference. Here, well, here's without the guitar. It still sounds cool, yes, but it doesn't really make that sound. You know, the sound that you want for a rocktronic sound. The rocktronic sound. You would want more of a rocktronic sound. You want something to move. If I add back the guitar, you can hear the movement. Okay, I think, you know, maybe you know what I mean. Again, another example, this verse right here, you can hear what I mean with the 808s and guitars playing together. You know, if I take out the guitar chug, this is how it sounds. Still good, still enjoyable, but if you add back the guitars, you can hear like a movement to the 808s, and which you cannot make otherwise. Like, they kind of complement each other, in my opinion. Like, maybe you can hear it, I hope you can. But yeah, that's sort of what I mean by layering things. To make one sound fuller and better, it's better to add some layers that might not necessarily work together. Even Martin Garrix says this in his, you know, whatever masterclass he's did in the past. I've seen some videos floating around on the internet, so yeah, that's definitely the truth. So here's another project file that, again, it's another ID that I'll hopefully release very soon, where I did this thing, you know, where there's some other cool sound designing aspect in the second drop. Here, I'll play you the second drop a bit. Now, I don't know if you can make out the sounds that well. A cool thing that I learned from my good friend, Just a Dubstep Producer, to complement your sound to have like a very, you know, noticeable pumping effect, it's cool to add something wide and thumpy like a kick. So right here, I just added a kick. Now, it sounds pretty terrible by itself, but, you know, if I play with the growls and with the main sounds, you know, it kind of gives it like that thicker feeling, like this is how it sounds without the kick. It doesn't really make a difference, but if you add this kick and play everything together, it kind of gives it that pumpy effect that you want in your songs, maybe. You see, like that, something like that. It's very cool. You can add that, and this was a suggestion by my good friend Lexus to add when I showed him this project file. This marimba thing right. This is just like delayed and, you know, reverbed, but I added subtly here in this drop right here, so it kind of gives it a cool sound. It kind of follows the main like bassist layer, and in terms of like what that, you know, how this bass sounds like this, you know, that what oh, like that pushing fluid feel, it's automations. This is another technique that you can use in your sound design, is automation to evolve your sound over time. This is it's a frequency shifter, I believe. Again, it's just a frequency shifter on this sound right here, and I added a resonator to make it color basing. That's how it sounds cool with and without. And just to complement it, I have this vocal atmosphere thing too, like this vocal atmosphere. It sounds pretty awful, but it's just like an atmosphere of the main vocal that the song had. You know, it's following the same thing of like frequency shifted, and it has a resonator just to give that color based sound. So it follows the main like growl sound, it kind of complements each other. Just to give you an idea, it sounds, you know, this is how it sounds with sidechain too. It gives it a pumpy feeling that sound that I wanted for this job. And just to make it a bit more spicy and thicker, I added this bass here too. Kind of gives it like that overtone, and you know, to round it all off, I have a sub bass. And in the second half, I added this. I resampled the main bass sound and just did some more warping stuff to it. I believe. What is this? Effector? I believe that's Effector that's going on. Again, it's the same bass sound that I have for the main growl sound. You know, it's just a main growl sound, but I just added some SDFU to have an LFO just to give it like the wobbliness. So in the background, again, a pitch shifter again, and something new that I added is an effector. I'm automating the delay, as you can see. This is something that Eliminate showed in his, you know, early YouTube videos, where you can use effector to give this metallic sound with a delay. It's very cool. It's so cool. I don't know how you would do it in other DAWs. I don't know really realistically, but yeah, if you have Effector or FL Studio, you can definitely do that. Again, it's subtly in the background, but you can definitely feel its effect. Again, you can't really notice it that much, but it gives you like, it gives you an evolution, and that's something, you know, with sound design you can try too. These are the other things that you can try automating stuff and see where they take you. To summarize everything, things that you should basically try to make in terms of sound design. Try learning the fundamentals, like how basses are a sound, you know, try to know what you're wanting to make, and then figure out how to go about it, you know, with whatever synth you have, whatever you decide to do. Don't be afraid of experimenting. So, you know, even if you fail, you still, you know, I still learned something that's definitely powerful. In terms of other things that you can do, is definitely don't undermine post-processing. Post-processing is definitely the main reason a lot of people, you know, have specific sounds. They can make specific sounds and genres. Even post-processing is your main meat and bones of a sound. You know, you can only do so much in a synth. You need to do some post-processing. Not saying that you have to all the time, but it will make the sound better. It will make fit in the mix better. Layering is definitely important. Don't just think like, hey, this sound doesn't really feel like it fits. Try it out. It will probably work together. As long as it works together, you will see it makes a difference. The final trick that I would give is automate. Automations are a key element for most of your dubstep songs that you hear. You know, if you listen to Eliminate, you will see his like project files, like the amount of automations he has in the project files. They don't have to be complicated, of course. They can be very basic and simple stuff, like a cutoff filter, LFOs, or whatever you might be, whatever you feel like it should evolve. Automations help the sound evolve over time and doesn't make it sound boring. You know, still part of sound designing. That's how most of your dubstep songs are made, with automations. And again, don't be afraid to automate stuff. So yeah, these are the basics of sound design that I can give. Sorry that I sound congested. Again, the cold is kind of getting to me. Pray for me that I survive this cold. Anyway, if you want to see a video where I struggle to make a song with my bow, click the eye in the corner there, right there. Should be a pop-up there. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.